Hello everyone and welcome back today for round number 4 here in the GT Sport Gavra Racing League. We're here for Alsace Village for Group B, and if it was anything like the first group yesterday, then we are in for a very exciting race. You join us here in France for this 3.38 mile long track, a really technical one, lots of medium and high speed corners, and should definitely make for an eventful race. We're here for the start of the 18-minute qualifying, and we're here for the new Group 2 car. Well, I say the new Group 2 cars, the new but old Group 2 cars. We're using the 2008 Group 2 cars. You can see there in the bottom right all the details about this the Nissan that Woody has opted to select for this set of races. Obviously, continues doing a similar thing to last season. We have the 3 different groups of car: Group 2, Group 3 and Group 4, and we're now at that phase where we are in the older Group 2 cars, the 2008 cars, for the following 2 races. And then we've got a nice diverse grid of cars here. We've got a few Nissans, we've got a few Lexuses. I don't think we have a Honda, but if I see one, I'll definitely let you know. And that will be a penalty for T-Toppers. Started on the mediums and is pitted for a set of soft tyres. Actually, I can actually no, there'll be no time. Don't want to disturb people on their quali laps putting something in the chat. So that's going to be a penalty for T-Toppers then. Changing tyres in the qualifying session. You can put a fresh set on, but you can't change the tyre, the compound type. That is one of the new rules that I brought in for this season. Woody though in some nice clean air. He's got no one in front of him up until turn 3, so it should be a nice clean lap from him. Hello Black Country and Bonnie in the chat. I hope you're all having a wonderful evening, as we have a very packed Irish and British grid today, with one of the drivers being from France, that is T-Toppers himself. But you can hear the tyres screaming a little bit through the final corner where Dutchy crashed yesterday, but where can Woody put his Nissan? It's going to be on pole position with the only time set, 1 minute 43.1. Let's see if PMP Mac can do anything about it. His teammate last race in Sardinia and disconnected from that one, unfortunately, but it's about 2 seconds off the pace. It's almost exactly 2 seconds off the pace, as Kyle is 1/10 behind PMP Mac. Let's see what Tom the Bomb can do. Has Wolfie right behind him, so Wolfie's going to get that slipstream, and not for much longer, as Tom the Bomb's doing some Tokyo drifting through the final corner. Not sure that's the fastest way through that part of the track, but what can Wolfie do? Up to the line, goes 7/10 behind Woody, and Tom the Bomb undoubtedly goes into 6th place, having that mistake made in the final corner with a 150 flat. Also puts Kyler up into 5th place and only a 10.5 behind PMP Mac. And who else is on the lap? T-Toppers is about to start his lap, but will receive a penalty for changing tyres. Ted goes up into... where does he move up? He goes up into 4th place, 1.6 seconds behind Woody, but the Scout down with an impressive time. Where's this pace come from? So slots 3/10 in between Woody and Wolfie, almost, well, pretty much 3/10 between the two. Really good lap from down there. Has got Tom the Bomb slipstream, but that might have been just because he's caught up to these guys who are going on in laps. Let's have a look if we've got anyone on a lap. We've got T-Toppers, we've got ND on an out lap. On the mediums, we've got Cutlery Hands on a lap, and I'm in the pit lane apparently. I think I've entered the race by accident, but we've got Cutlery Hands into the pits to repair the damage. Doesn't look like a change of tyres, or at least have already changed the tyres. You can put fresh sets of tyres on, you just can't change the compounding quality. You have to start the race whatever tyre you qualified on. And during the race, you have to use 3 different sets: the super softs, the softs, and the medium tyres at some point during the race. Every tyre you don't use, you will be gifted a beautiful 1-minute penalty at the end. PMP Mac though moves up into 5th place, as only 500ths behind his fellow Irishman Ted, and the only one who's not Irish in this top 5 is the Scout Dan, currently in 2nd place. Wolfie coming to the final corner, decides to stay out, and I don't think Kyler was expecting him to stay out, and that was a little bit of a weird incident in quality, to be honest. Let's get a replay of that. It is working this time, the replay feature, so a mistake from Kyler. I think Wolfie's going to come and complete the lap. I don't think Kyler knew he was there. This go 2/10 quicker than his personal best, but maintains in 3rd place for now, as we have some faster times coming in. Ted solidifies 4th place, goes 9.5 tenths ahead of T-Toppers, and only 2 tenths ahead of his teammate Wolfie. sorry, 2 tenths behind his teammate in 4th place. Someone else improved. I'm not sure who that was quickly. I was too busy speaking about Ted's time. Tom the Bombs into the pits for another set of medium tyres. Melek Sandils comes across the line to start one of his lap. Woody on an out lap. The Scout Dad, I believe, is on a lap. Don't think he's pitted though, so I'm not sure how competitive this lap is going to be compared to a fresh set of medium laps. But you can see here it's really early in the morning. It's 4:45 in game, not in real life. Thankfully, I don't think I have the energy to wake up that early. But the headlights will be glowing, lighting up the track as we go through this 10-minute quali. Dan, it's actually only 300ths down through the 3rd sector, so it might not be a bad lap from him. If he can find a little bit more time through this final sector, could possibly pull it on provisional pole. Might decide to come into the pits though and put on a new set of medium tyres. So let's ride on board going into the downhill final corner. Beautiful set of corners, as you can see. Turn 1, that's just how much elevation change there is through this section. Looks like he's going to complete the lap. Wolfie moves up into 2nd place and knocks down to 3rd. 143.2 and goes within half a tenth, just behind Woody, who's on provisional pole position. But it is really close out in front. Only 6 tenths separating 4th to 1st, and T-Top has solidifying 5th place a little bit more. Moves within a 7-tenth gap to PMP Mac behind, only 3 tenths behind Ted. Let's see if anyone's on a lap. Kyler's, I don't know if he's on a lap, might be on a lap. T-Top is moving out of the way. They look like fresh mediums, so let's have an on-board lap then with Kyler. There's a little bit of lag actually. MD improves, goes up into 7th place ahead of Kyler. Melek Sandil is also improving. There is a little bit of lag here. I'm not sure if it's Kyler's. Let's see if we can ride on. Let's go with someone else. I think Wolfie's. Wolfie's looking okay. Dan's looking fine. It's Ted. I think it might be. That might be Kyler's internet. In the Honda, the first Group 2 Honda. Yeah, Kyler is an extremely laggy car. Rubber banding all over the place. That might be an issue for some of the drivers in the race. Woody's got a little bit of traffic up in front. He's going to complete the lap anyway. Can he improve? Doesn't improve. Cutlery hand, so does improve him. Was on a flying lap, so didn't legally have to give way to Woody, but has done by going a little bit too deep into turn 1 in the beautifully sounding Nissan, by the way. This Lexus bike, sorry. Just listen to this. It is a very beautiful sounding car indeed, as Wolfie actually puts himself now on provisional pole position of 1:43.150, moves within just 100th clear of Woody for now. But this qualifying battle still has 8 minutes left to go, as Kyler, with his interesting internet to say the least, goes up into 6th place and just a second of pole position. T-Toppers has changed tyre once again onto the super softs, so that was going to be another penalty. These penalties are stacking up for T-Toppers, it seems, in this race. He has changed 2 sets of tyres, twice started on the mediums, went to the softs, and now he's on the set of super softs. Obviously, I've said in the chat, so for those if any drivers are watching, you will know that my reminders each week. And at the start of the season, we had 2 races with this rule. We had the sprint race to kind of, change things up a bit, but we're back to usual means. It's only the sprint races that are different, and in that concept, it's the middle race in each group. It's round 3, 8 and 13 in the season, slap bang in the middle of each group of car. So yeah, unfortunate for I say unfortunate for T-Toppers, as he could have done something about it and not changed tyre. It's going to be a penalty. Cutlery hands though does improve, and it's only good enough to get closer to Tom the Bomb. Cutlery seems to be struggling in these sets of cars. You can see getting out of shape in turn 1. Not the first time we've seen that. I've set a blistering time of a 10:37 in the pit lane. But Wolfie's into the pits. I'm not sure. I think this could be a lap from Woody. Let's have a look at his sector splits. Going through the long swooping left-hander of turn 4 is 2.5 tenths down on his time. So it doesn't look like he's going to be improving unless he can find something in the third and final sector. Dan looks like he's about to start a lap. I think that 42.4 was an out lap, seeing as it's faster than the provisional pole time. So let's ride on board with Dan here, who seemed to have found a lot of pace going into this race weekend on those medium tyres. Has run a little bit wide onto the grass and is able to keep it in a straight line, but might have to abort this lap, save those medium tyres and go again. That's going to definitely cost him about 5 tenths of a second, and well, more than 5 tenths, 1.5 seconds actually added to his time. Let's have a look at PMP Mac as he's starting his laps, going through turn 3, sorry. It looks like he's able to hook it up nicely, keeping the car on the track. This left-hander is almost flat. A little lift required through the middle of the corner, is 4.5 tenths up on his lap, so it's good enough for about 5th or 6th place roughly, just through the first sector alone as Woody improves. That gap now down to 7 thousandths of a second. This is going to be one head of a race between those two if they're that close out on track. But outstanding lap from Woody, moves him ever so closely, just behind 007 behind Wolfie. But we're going to go back quickly to PMP Max time. Is green through the second sector, and so we're about to approach the third sector split. Has been able to keep it clean. This could be good for 4th place maybe, potentially. 1.2 seconds now, improving on his time. 1.7 seconds off the provisional pole. If he can find 5 tenths through this final sector, could be good. That might have been lag. I don't think he actually went off the track. The car looked too much in control for him to have dipped a wheel into the grass. But going into the downhill chicane, let's see what PMP Mac can do. Can he extract as much time as he can? A little bit deep, it's a little bit laggy as well. Hits the wall, it seems. Might have been lag. We'll have to wait and see how much it would have impacted his time. Goes up into 3rd place, only 2 tenths behind Wolfie. 1:43.3. Good lap from PMP Mac, and there are now two teammates in 2nd and 3rd. Wolfie's going to hope that Ted can improve on his time, just so there's a little bit of, you know, kind of teamwork. You can use a little bit of teamwork during the race. But Ted's about to cross the line and start his lap after bailing on this one. 21 seconds but off the pace, probably backed out or got held up in traffic, something like that. Yeah, there seems to be a lot of not everyone's lagging though. That's the thing. I can, like, T-Toppers is fine, Woody's fine, Wolfie's fine. It's only I think I think it's Kyler and Mac are the 2 laggiest drivers. See, Max seems to be fine here. Seems to be all good. Where's Kyler on track? So currently in 7th place. Yeah, it's a little bit. I think it's Kyler's end that's a bit laggy, because we can go onto Wolfie here, and it's absolutely fine. Wolfie actually going around the final corner is going to set a lap. Is it good enough to extend his lead at the front? It is. It's an improvement by 4.5 tenths. A 1:42.677 goes almost 5 tenths clear at the top. What can Woody do? Can Woody respond to this? Or is he going to have to? Is it going to be a Wolfie pole position, or would anyone else be able to snatch back the top spot here in quali? Yeah, it could cause trouble in the race, but there is nothing I can do about it. It's their internet. I don't know what more can be done. T-Toppers actually with a blinding lap. Where's he done this time from? A 1:42.9 goes up into 2nd place. I didn't even see that. I was looking at the chat. Next minute I know he's splitting the 2 Irish lads up front. Goes only 3 tenths behind Wolfie, 1.5 tenths ahead of Woody. Who else can improve? Ted improves, goes up into 6th place, only 2 tenths behind the Scout Dan. 1 second though off his teammate Wolfie. Someone's about to come around the final corner. It is Woody. He's going to start his lap. Cutlery Hands is on a lap going through the middle sector, 2nd sector now. As the Scout Dan for company out in front. Is Dan on the lap? Dan is on a lap. So we'll be able to watch both of these drivers as they complete their laps, and that's a late send from Cutlery Hands. We might have to get another replay of that. There seems to be a little bit of argy-bargy going on here. what happened between these two in quali. We can see here Cutlery late on the brakes and really barges his way through, ruining both of their laps, and then slows down to let Dan through, but only compromising both of their lap times here. With 1 minute 30 left to go, this will be the driver's final lap of the session. Everyone who's coming across the line now is only going to get one more lap in. Some drivers might not make it to do another lap. I think Dan will be the first one to set their final times. Someone going through the middle second sector. Let me try and find who it is. It is Woody. He will make it across the line, so he's going to be able to do another lap in this qualifying session. Currently 55 seconds in with 1 minute left to go on the clock. 1 minute 40 lap time. Definitely has a bit of time to make it. T-Top is into the pits, and if he changes tyres from the super softs, then he might be starting this race all the way over in Spain with some penalty, and it's onto the mediums. So this is an interesting one. He started this qualifying session on the mediums, pitted for softs, then went to super softs, set his fastest time on the super softs, and now he's back to the mediums. And is doing a practice start, it seems, with 20 seconds left to go. Practice start on those mediums, but it's going to be a penalty nevertheless. Even if you went back to the medium tyres, your fastest lap was set on the super softs, so that will be a penalty. Woody though sets a new personal best, and one that sets him for the front row of the grid, only a tenth behind Wolfie. Let's have a look and see what Wolfie can do going into the penultimate few corners here. The right-hander followed by a quick left, taking in second or third gear. Wolfie opting for third for that one, to try and get the power down as soon as possible up to the line. Can he extend his lead out front? No, he can't. He's 3/10 down on his personal best, but his personal best is currently good enough for provisional pole position. Who is this going around the final corner? It's the Scout Dan, who's not improving either. 1 minute 40 going through the final corner. Let's have a look and see who else is going up to the line. It's going to be Kyler next up on track. Actually, I think that's Cutlery going through the final corner. I saw him through the elevation change, which is how insane this track is, but it's not going to be an improvement. Let's see what Kyler can do going around the final corner now. That Honda rubber banding all over the place. Hopefully his internet's fixed for the race and does improve. Goes up into 7th place, just less than a tenth behind Ted, who's currently in 6th place and has bailed out on his lap with damage and is letting other drivers go through. PMP Mac improves and his time goes up into 4th place, only a tenth and a half behind T-Toppers. And his time, Melix Andy was going around the final few corners now, down the start, the small straight head, letting other drivers through. There's MD coming around the final corner. This looks like a good lap from him. It looks like it could be an improvement on his 44.4. It is an improvement by 7.5 tenths, goes up into 6th place, knocks down Ted, and look how close that was, only 100th quicker than Ted as Melix Andos goes up into 9th place. But there's quite a big gap though between the cars around him, and Tiger's actually joined the lobby, and I think that's quali over. Someone's going around the final corner. That might be Ted, up to the line with quite a bit of damage, and rounds out this qualifying session. But that's what there. This is your grid for tonight's race, if I can actually speak. Wolfie is on pole position, followed by Woody in 2nd place, T-Toppers in 3rd, PMP Mac in 4th, the Scout Dan in 5th place, and ND will start in 6th. Ted in 7th, Kyler in 8th, Melix Andos in 9th, Tom the Bomb in 10th, Cutlery Hines in 11th, and I am in 12th, but I'm not in 12th because I'm not racing. But here we go then. 17 corners make up this made-up track in Alsace, located in France. And once again, a reminder of your starting grid tonight. It's a Nissan 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And we've got a few Lexuses and a few Hondas on the grid. I need to actually cancel my race entry quickly before this race starts. Quickly, you can see there the lights are counting down. I cannot spectate while the race is in process, but you can see there in the small screen. Apologies about this. It is lights out and away we go. We can able to see the race, and what a start that is from Wolfie. He's got the jump on Woody, and T-Toppers is currently going 3 wide in towards turn 1. I think that's the Scout down on the inside. No, it's not. I can't see the names. I don't know why the names aren't appearing above the cars, but it makes it difficult for commentary. Someone's off, that might be Ted, and it is Ted who goes careering off, spinning into the wall, and that's a lot of damage for the Irishman. We can get a replay on what happened with that, riding in the chase cam point of view on his Nissan. Let's see what happened to the Irishman, getting a bit caught up, trying to find a gap on cars, opting for the outside line, got onto the curb, and that's what caught him to lose the car. But Wolfie currently leads, followed by Woody and PMP Mac in third. T-Top is dropping down to fourth, starting on those medium tyres, which is the tyre he didn't qualify on. That looks like Woody was going to send one down the inside on Wolfie for the lead of the race, but everyone I think made it through turn one cleanly, apart from Ted with has to do a whole lap with engine damage. Hugely unfortunate for him. Can he fight his way back through the field? We've still got 34 laps remaining, but Wolfie leads the 7th gap, a 10th gap to Woody behind. He's got his teammate closely following. Hopefully we don't have another incident between two teammates down at this hairpin. Thunder and Aston getting caught up on lap 1 in yesterday's race. Let's just monitor this gap for the league, just in case we see a Sen. Someone's running wide. That's Team Thomas. A few drivers, ND I think, running a little bit wide as well, slightly offline. Carlos is lagging a little bit behind. You can see there the kind of dark grey Honda getting a little bit out of shape. Here goes the scout down on Melix Andils round the outside and towards the final chicane. Can he get the move down? Melix is going to try and hold it down the inside, but it's going to be the inside line for the scout down. There's a little bit of contact, but Dan makes his way up into 7th place. We're trying to hunt down Carla for 6th, but that's lap 1 down. Lap 1 done. On to lap 2 and 33 left to go. Are we going to see any more moves into turn 1? Carla running a little bit wide, is able to survive. Someone who hasn't survived though, Ted is crawling back to the pits at a slow speed. Engine damage in this game is quite painful to say the least, but we've got a nice battle for the lead stirring between Woody and Wolfie. It's going to be interesting to see which one of these two comes out on top. People going purple, but it is only lap 2. Everyone will be setting faster the first sectors, as this is lap 2. But it's an Irish 1, 2, 3, split by T-Tobbers in 4th, followed by ND in 5th place. Dan has actually got Carla already. Might have been a mistake from Carla, but now Dan has the 2.2 second gap to chase to ND in front, all on the medium tyres. Now that's going to be Woody trying to look to send one down the inside of Wolfie. There's a little bit of contact there. Wolfie almost running wide into the grass. That would have been an airborne crash to say the least. It could have ended up in the lake to the right hand side. There is a small lake on the right hand side of that embankment. A beautiful bank corner to say the least. It's so nice to drive through in this game. But Woody's still trailing behind, but I'm not sure how long he's going to be behind. He's looking ready for a race here. You can see there the beautiful apex of turn 1, the high amounts of elevation change around this track, a heavy braking zone into the final few corners. Woody is going to try and set himself up and try and get a good run in towards turn 1. He's done exactly that. He's now tucking into the slipstream. He's got a good run, climbing his way through the gears. PMP Max actually sets the fastest lap, but Woody's not close enough though to send one down the inside and towards turn 1. 2 different lines being taken. It looks like Wolfie was running slightly wider going into the first corner. We'll give him a nice launch, a nice slingshot in towards the long run to turn 2 and 3. Turn 2 being a completely flat left-hander where you want to try and gain your speed, and it looks like Woody might be saving a little bit of fuel. Wasn't gaining as much as I thought he would there. The Scout down has done really well actually to close down that 2-second gap. He's now only 2/10 behind the Frenchman as they make their way through turn 4, swooping left-hander, which can almost be taken flat out. And I am going to monitor the race battle for the lead as well, riding on board with Dan now. This is like our equivalent of driver's eye, as Dan gets a really good launch through turn 5. Is there enough room, just enough room for Dan to sling one down the inside, and T-Thomas though will have the inside line for the next corner, and it doesn't give Dan enough room, but Dan with a beautiful switchback move. I am monitoring any changes for the leaders. Dan's going to try a Dutchy signature move. Is he going to swoop on round the outside? He's still there, he's still alongside. Dan to the inside line, now gets ahead of T-Thomas. T-Thomas is going to be aware that he has the inside line now for the hairpin. He's going to send one a little bit late from Dan. Apologies about that, from T-Thomas, sorry. Dan actually with a beautiful switchback and getting a bit out of shape. T-Thomas, sorry about going back up to the battle for the lead. They're still going wheel to wheel. What a battle we're having here for 5th place, but it's going to be Team Toppers who stays in front just for now. But these two picking up a great fight for 5th place. We can go back up to the battle for the lead. Wolfie's now sets the fastest lap of the race. 143.3 goes a tenth quicker than his rivals behind. Let's see what the Scout Dan can do. These guys are losing. They lost so much time to ND and PMP Mac in front, and now 3 seconds separate those guys. What can Woody do? Can he send one down the inside? He is going to send one down the inside. Wolfie leaves the door open, and they tries to do a switchback move, gets a little bit compromised. They're now going 3 wide in towards his long swooping left-hander of turn 4. Wolfie's going to have the inside line. Can PMP Max swoop one round the outside? What a beautiful, exquisite move that was from the Irishman. Woody's now going to slot in between, but let's just get an onboard replay. Can we get an onboard replay? And it's broken again. The replay feature is broken once again. What a shame. Somewhat hugely unfortunate we couldn't get to watch that back. But Dan is really eager to get this move done on Team Toppers. I want to use the word aggressive, but aggressive makes it sound a bit negative. But Dan's driving this, well, in the past few races, has definitely been a massive improvement from last season. He has found a lot of pace this year. Could be these cars, it could be the settings, but who knows. Good improvements from Dan, and potentially might find himself another podium, and trying to get ever so closer to the podium. There's Team Toppers drifting through the hairpin, getting all out of shape, and Dan's going to say thank you very much and makes his way up into 5th place and capitalises on that mistake. But Woody getting ahead of PMP Mac now, up into the lead of the race. And that's actually going to be Wolfie who's going to try and capitalise on Woody's move. They're now going to go wheel to wheel through the final corner up to the line and start that 5 out of 34. PMP Mac's going to have the inside line and will maintain 2nd place for now. But it's now a Woody PMP Mac 1-2. Wolfie in 3rd place, and his teammate currently down in 10th place on a set of soft compound tyres after the earlier incident. I think there's a position change. Kyler Love getting ahead of Tom the Bomb there. I saw something flash. I don't know if it was just the game glitching. Sometimes it does that. Someone's into the pits. It's Kyler Love with front bumper damage. Does anyone around have damage as well? Doesn't look like it, so might have been a separate incident there. But Wolfie's starting to lose a little bit of time to the cars in front. Could be fuel saving, although has very similar fuel to the 2 Irishmen in front. It's an Irish 1, 2, 3, 4. Dan's trying to now break the slipstream from Team Toppers behind. He's keeping very much close to the rear of that Nissan. You see there Dan's custom helmet, simple grey, but we have some nice liveries and some nice helmets on the grid for sure. Dan running a little bit wide onto the grass. Can he maintain 5th place? He unfortunately corner didn't come as quickly as I think he was anticipating, and Team Toppers is able to slip one up the inside, and that's Dan making a few mistakes onto the grass. Can he keep it out the barrier? Scrapes the barrier, but thankfully no damage there. A pretty nice crash actually, but has cost him 2.8 seconds. He now needs to get his head down and focus and find his rhythm, find his consistency that he's had in the past 4 laps. Thankfully for him, no damage. But the only damage I'd say is that he's lost 3.2 seconds to Team Toppers, who is now in 5th place, and now he will be the one chasing down ND and the leaders. But it's PMP Mac now who leads this race on lap 6, closely followed by his teammate Woody. I don't think there's team orders within this team, as they like to trade positions in this race. Let's have a look for any other battles. The grid's kind of separated. I think the front 3 are the only one within 3 seconds of each other. Everyone else is quite far spread out. I know that seems a bit weird to say, but it's only these 3 as they're separated by 5 tenths. Everyone else is greater than 3 seconds. You can see there on the map in the top right, quite a split grid. We only have 11 drivers here tonight, so if anyone's watching and you'd like to take part in the GT Sport League, next week will be the group. Next week is Suzuka, in the final race in Group 2, and then we'll be in Group 4. So feel free to send me a message, join our Discord channel, and up there you will be updated with all the information. But Wolfie's starting now to drop a little bit back off of Woody. might be struggling on those medium tyres, or could be saving fuel to have a shorter pit stop. Definitely has the most fuel out of the front runners, but our tyre wear is quite bad on this track, and will be the thing that drivers are going to be managing the most. Melix has got front bumper and front left suspension damage, not where that occurred from. Kyler also has damage, so something might have originated between those two. Cutlery Hands has got rear right damage, so drivers are unable to keep it out of the barriers, it seems. Ted has a lot of damage. What's gone on here? Ted's on an outlap and has made a mistake, or has crashed somewhere. What's going on here then? No wonder drivers are so separated. It's because they're all getting caught up in incidents, whether it's driver error or a crash. I'm not too sure. I can't have a replay to find out. But Ted on an outlap means he's pit again. Look at his times. You can see he pitted on lap 1, he's pitted on lap 5, and now he's going to have to come into the pits again. And some might say it's the end of his race. That's a mistake from Wolfie. I just saw it on the minimap, I think. Actually, I'm not sure. Looked like his arrow went off the track there, but that just could have been the map. It's only 1.3 seconds there behind Woody, and it's spawning outside the slipstream. Melix is into the pits off of those medium tyres. This race has been carnage, and we haven't seen all the action. Kyler's also into the pits to repair the damage. I'm sure Tom's on an outlap, so has pitted from damage, I think. Cutler is going to have to pit and repair his damage. Ted also having to repair his damage. What is going on here tonight then? It's almost like the opposite. I mean, we saw drivers make mistakes in Group A yesterday. Looks like more mistakes are being made here in Group B tonight. That's 4 or 5 drivers now who have sustained damage in the first 7 laps of the race. I mean, it's not like it's your Monaco. There are barriers everywhere, but I don't know what's going on. I'm going to have to obviously watch the race back afterwards. But Woody now getting close up behind PMP Mac. Sebastian in the chat saying happy to see you guys still keep the series going. I'm happy that I started it. I see you're doing well. Woody, keep on going. And speaking of Woody, looks like it's going to be making a move for the lead. Looks like team orders potentially. PMP Mac leaves the door open on the inside and doesn't decide to fight it back on the inside. So Woody now takes the lead of the race and could give PMP Mac the time to save some fuel, as it looks like Woody's been able to save some fuel behind his teammate, and Wolfie has been able to close the gap down to the front runners. PMP Mac might have an issue here. He looked like he was dropping a little bit further back behind. The gap's opening up a little bit. I'm not too sure. It looks like he's all got it under control, but yeah, welcome Sebastian. I haven't seen you in the chat before, so if you're new, welcome. Hope you have seen the race yesterday. What an amazing race it was. I think it was I'm going to say race of the season, hand on heart. I said it in commentary yesterday, but that Group A race was outstanding. Action throughout. Obviously drivers might have different opinions, but from a neutral's perspective, definitely up there with one of the best. Dan's still looking to try and close down the gap to ND. The gap's opened up to about 5 seconds roughly, but has set his personal best on the last lap and is improving. So has definitely found some pace, has closed 5/10 on that lap, so ND looks like he might have made a mistake there. The gap's now down to 4.5 tenths, but an even closer gap separating second and third place. These 3 drivers fighting for the podium. ND is, I was going to say he's closing in, but I think that was some lap traffic who's come up behind these guys. Woody still leads the way, but I'm sure Wolfie will be trying to get past if he's not saving fuel. If he is saving fuel, he might just want these front 2 guys to slipstream them through. But I think that's actually Ted, who's pitted from the damage and has gone a lap down on lap number 7. And is actually, I mean, he can unlap himself. He's on the fresher super soft tyres. There's nothing to stop him from unlapping himself here. He might actually try and do this on his teammate. Ted is unlapping himself. We have some yellow flags up in front. I'm not sure who that is for. I'm going to ride on board with Ted just so he can see if anyone's gone off. There is a car. I think that's Cutlery Hands. But Ted now on the charge to unlap himself on those super soft tyres. Someone's getting out of the way. I believe that is Cutlery Hands. But Ted's having none of it. He's He's wanting to unlap himself. Is that Ted letting Wolfie go back through? It is. So Ted now has a... Well, that might have cost him a little bit of time. Ted is legally allowed to unlap himself, but the gap's now 7 tenths, 8 tenths between PMP Mac and Wolfie. If anything, this is going to hamper Ted's race if he's stuck behind these guys on mediums. That's wide from PMP Mac. That could invite Wolfie down the inside. Oh, hi Jude. I did not know it was you. Hello, yeah, this season is still going. We've had some amazing seasons in the past and some amazing races here. Welcome back. If anyone doesn't know, Duke was the first admin of the GT Sport League back all the way in Season 1, where 2 Saint won his first championship. It's a pleasure to have you back in the chat. But yeah, now back up to the battle for the lead. Let's have a look. Dan's actually closing that gap to ND. Now 3.5 seconds. 3.2 seconds. So it's definitely found some pace. I don't know what these guys are doing, but they need to work out. Sorry about that. They need to work out who. If Ted's unlapping himself, if he's not, because he's now cost more time to Wolfie behind. If he's now re-overtaken his teammate, and I think they're going to try and unlap Ted to try and give Wolfie the best chance of overtaking PMP Mac and Woody. You can obviously unlap yourself. We haven't seen any incidents in Group 1 with cars being lapped or unlapping themselves, I don't think. But here in Group B, I don't think we've had any incidents this season. Last season it was a different scenario, unfortunately, and proved costly for the championship, to which Woody is trying to win this season. But Ted is actually trying to look for a move on PMP Mac. He's going down the inside. Second place fights him with 10th place. War mediums against fresh softs. Ted can unlap himself, but if he is unable to pull away, should give the position back. A little bit wide from Mac there. That's going to invite Ted to try and get a little bit racy here. But I don't think he wants to overtake. I think he's trying to be cautious. It's going to be a sinking feeling if there was to be a collision with these two. It's either the helicopter camera shot in the background there. But yeah, if anyone hasn't if anyone hasn't seen the Group A race yesterday, definitely watch the last 10 laps. The last 10-15 laps, Dutchy, 2 Cent and Tiger put on an absolutely stunning battle for the lead of the race. As Ted actually overtakes Tom DeBon there, because Tom DeBon had to get out of the way for the leaders, but Ted's like, I'm having none of this, I want to unlap myself here, I'm on the fresh super soft tyres, and I'm pulling my teammate along. This could actually be really good for Wolfie, as he now has to save fuel. But I do like that livery actually, that livery that Wolfie has. Meanwhile, Ted's trying to fight his way through the field, almost pushing PMP Mac through turn 4. And is unable to find an overtake yet. But it's going to hamper Ted's race the longer he's behind these guys. Looks like he's trying to get past as much as he can, trying to maximise his potential in these Group 2 cars. PMP Mac's gone a bit wide. That could invite Ted to go down the inside, and Ted is now up into 9th place, but is ahead of his rivals. But PMP Mac's having none of it. He wants to fight this one back, but Ted on those fresh super soft tyres, we know his pace from the first 2 races of the season, finishing in 2 second places, is now going to try and hunt down Woody to unlap himself fully. Bonnie Evil just confirming that on Friday it does get slightly feistier in the GT Sport League. We have 2 groups, Group A and Group B, one on Friday and the other on Saturday. It just gives me an easier job by trying to manage both races at different times. It's impossible last season when we had 2 groups racing at the same time, different complaints being put in at the same time. We got through it though, but this year we're on Fridays and Saturdays. And just to go over the rules once again for any other new members, we are in these Group 2 cars, the classic Group 2 cars for 2 races. The first time we've seen these groups of cars in the league. It's almost like a trial. I might think about putting them back in next season, but we've got 1 more race in Group 2, and then we're heading off into Group 4 for 5 races, and then we're going to Group 3 for the final 5 races of the season. 15 race calendar, the biggest calendar, longest calendar we've had Usually we're used to seeing 12 races, but we added 3 more and 2 wet races as well to add to the list, as well as 3 sprint races, as Ted is definitely trying to get a move on, getting charged through the field. He's pulling up alongside Woody. He's going to try and send one down the inside. It's a shame it's not for position, because Ted is definitely putting on a really exciting battle here. Is being waved the blue flags, but is on the faster compound tyre and wanting to get through. For this season, we're now on ×5 tyre wear, ×3 fuel consumption, and a few tyre regulations as well to add to the list. It's definitely changed a lot since the start. Here goes Ted. Is he going to try and go round the outside? This will be a really nice move if he can. Going to try and take a wide line, get a good exit. Let's ride on board with him as he tries and sets himself up for a move, but not a move for position, more like a move to unlap himself, as the medium tyres are definitely going to start going off in a bit. Kyler Love is into the pits after picking up damage early on in the race, and has actually got a little bit more damage. I'm not sure if he actually ended up repairing that. PMP Mac has gone a bit deep into the penultimate corner. That could allow Wolfie to capitalise on that mistake. Will Ted start battling Woody for the lead here? There is quite a bit of fuel difference between some of the drivers around. Sorry, I thought Ted had lost out in the battle. Where is Ted on the list? Oh, he's in 9th place. Sorry, I thought his name disappeared. But he is still battling for the not for the lead, more like the track position. That's laid down the inside. There's a bit of contact onto the curb, and that has really ruined his race. He's now spun round, able to keep it out of the barriers, and if only the replay feature worked, we can get a replay of that. But Ted, all that hard work to try and unlap himself after picking up engine damage on lap 1 has now been thrown out of the window, and is now 14 seconds behind Kyler, almost a minute ahead of Tom DeBomb and Cutlery, who weren't going well to it, but the names did flicker on the timing screen. Bonnie just putting in the chat for 12 laps, 5 drivers were fighting for the lead. It was beautiful, honestly. It was such good racing. No complaints from my end. Honestly, it was really good to see 5 drivers who could be fighting for the championship this year, battling it away on track. Unfortunately, a few mistakes kicked in, which kind of brought an end. Well, not an end, it kind of just, it reduced the number of drivers. We had a fight to the line like we've had through the past few races. So many drag races this season. I don't think we've actually had one at this track though. Yeah, until you binned it. Tim made a mistake as well, which was really unfortunate for him. Dutchy also made a mistake into the penultimate corner, which left it between a 1v1 between 2 Second Tiger, and one of them came out on top. Should have given a spoiler alert, to be honest, before I kind of leaked everything, but actually T Toppers has set the fastest lap of the race on his set of soft compound tyres of 1:43.188. We'll get an extra point for fastest lap. But yeah, the gaps are definitely starting to open up a bit. I think the driver's mistakes is what's I'm trying to think of the right words to use here, because obviously you can say someone's had a really aggressive race and that makes it sound like they've gone for late moves, they've made contact, but it could just be a really good comeback drive. So yeah, this race has been hampered by a few mistakes, I think is probably the best way to put it. Yesterday was such a good race as Dan and getting the move done on ND moves his way up into 4th place. Replay feature not working, unfortunately. Once again, it works at the start of races, and then after 5 laps it's like, you know what, I'm not going to work anymore. It's almost like I have a set number of flashbacks which I'm unaware of. But last season it was fine. We had unlimited flashbacks. Here goes PMP Mac now, defending from Wolfie behind. The battle for 2nd place in this race. Woody's able to extend his gap to 1.1 seconds, almost pulling out of the 6-stream range, as our drivers are starting to run a little bit low on fuel. And Dan has quite a bit of fuel compared to the guys around him. Puts him in a good position. I think who's that behind ND? It's Ted who's caught up to the guys here. see here, riding on board with Ted. Is he going to try and unlock us? No, he lifts off. He lifts off, so he doesn't go for the move. I think we'll see P&P Mac in this lap. We might see Woody as well. I'm not sure Wolfie will come into the pits, but the undercut was extremely powerful last week in Fuji, where we had the first sprint race concept. The sprint race followed by the feature race, and it turns out in the feature race, pitting 3 or 4 laps earlier was the best strategy to go, as Piero demonstrated to full effect, going from 9th to 3rd place after, well, he was in about 6th or 7th span into 9th, and then undercut everyone back up into 3rd, but then had to make another pit stop after running really low on fuel. But here goes Wolfie now, just going to try and look for a move on P&P Mac, who uses the grass, gets out of shape, hits the barrier, and seems like just like yesterday, anyone who I spectate ends up in the barrier or onto the grass, and this now costs P&P Mac almost 3 seconds to Wolfie, who's now up in 2nd place, and we'll now try and hunt down Woody for the lead. Sorry. Yeah, we had a lot of commentators cursing yesterday. Every time I spectated someone or complimented them, they would be found in the wall, or backwards, or with damage, or some sort of mistake will kick in. Does Woody decide to come into the pits? And he does. Does Wolfie follow him in? He's also going to follow his rivals into the pits. P&P Mac also pits, so it looks like they're learning from Fuji. P&P Mac with the least amount of fuel. We could see Wolfie come out in front in this battle. Let's see who puts more fuel in. Dan's also into the pits. ND stays out on those medium tyres. It's going to be interesting to see where him and Dan rejoin, but it's softs for Woody, softs for Wolfie, softs for P&P Mac. What's it going to be for the Scout Dan? I'm going to guess softs, but I'm going to say he's going to go super softs. I reckon he's going to do something alternative to the guys around him. Oh, it's softs. I thought someone might try something different here, but if anyone's wondering what the tyre regulations are for this season, we've changed it from previous seasons. Last season I said you have to use 2 different tyre compounds, and every single tyre was available. This season though, I've taken a leaf out of the book of the Nations Cup, their style of things, and you have to use the super softs, softs and mediums in a race. Every tyre not used will be a 1-minute penalty added on at the end. So the most common strategy is being, well, this season has been the medium soft, super soft, and that was a little bit close from Woody and ND. Down the inside goes the Irishman and promotes himself back up into the lead of the race. ND hasn't made a stop yet. Sorry guys, my stream said it stopped and I thought my internet had disconnected, but if I disconnected, this lobby wouldn't exist anymore, as if the host leads on a friends only lobby, everyone leaves and it just shuts down the entire session, which is a little bit interesting when trying to host lead races, let's tell you that. Thankfully that hasn't happened in 4 seasons of doing this, so hopefully I haven't jinxed it. Cartwheel Hanslow running in 11th place with damage. I thought I saw names change on the timing screen, might have just been a little bit of lag or something, but Wolfie has put in a lot more fuel than Woody, which is definitely interesting, really interesting, because if he can close that gap down, it means he can put in less fuel. P&P Max into the pits. P&P Max got damage. Replay's not working. I'll try and unplug my keyboard again. Sorry guys, you're going to get a black box covering the top left saying that my keyboard's disconnected. We'll just leave the spectator cab, re-enter it, disconnect the keyboard and reconnect it, just to see if it works. No, it doesn't work, but we can still flick between the drivers. That's why I like using the keyboard for this commentary. It has some features that you can't use on controller, like this. I can remove the UI, or that one, or that one. Well, I can't bring it all back though, I have to use the controller to bring everything on the screen. You can see there though, on the bottom, the tyres in the bottom left, the fuel next to them, and their telemetry. You can see their braking and throttle inputs, which might be something that you guys enjoy watching. Ideally I do like to have it like this, not like that, like this, just so we can see more. We're not covered by the times and the tyres. I think I'll just keep it like this, just for a little bit, just so we can have more of an F1 style stream with the leaderboard on the left hand side. You can see the interval gaps as well. It's a shame we can't see the interval gaps between all the drivers. It would definitely make commentary a lot easier, but you can see on the map everyone's quite separated, mainly due to, well, some due to strategy, but I think a lot is due to mistakes as well. We had an absolutely enthralling race yesterday, which went down to the wire, but it just seems, you know, every race is different. Some days you might have a really good race at one track, the other days it might be, from a viewer's point of view, it might be a bit boring. Obviously, Woody's not going to be complaining at this race. He's currently leading the way, 1.8 seconds, now 2 seconds ahead of Wolfie. I saw the leaderboard flicker again, but nothing there on the left-hand side. Wolfie, though, has got some pace. He's set the fastest lap of the race so far, and is currently in second. He's got a good gap to T-Toppers behind, and PMP Max now dropped down to 6th place with that damage in his behind head. Who's going to be waved the blue flags. He's going to have to move out of the way. This is not the race Ted would have wanted, but if he finishes this race, we'll be getting points for the championship. We're still using the same point system that Duke started back in season 1. 30 points for a win, 24 points for second place, 21 points for third, and the only addition I've added is 1 bonus point for fastest lap. If you get that during the race, it's an extra 1 point added to the championship. I was thinking about points for qualifying, but then I added in this new rule about the tyres, and I just thought it'd be kind of a little bit unfair. Similarly with the sprint races, for those starting at the back, I did consider bringing points for the sprint race, but then, you know, with the tyre rules and everything, it's just, if it was an even sprint race, like if everyone was equal, had equal chances, then yeah, I think it would be fine. Obviously F2 and that such is different. It's what they do. This is the new concept of sprint races we've added for this season. It's the first time we've done sprint races, and Fuji, I think, was a really successful one. The only way that it could have gone better, or the only thing that was bad about the sprint races, is that Dutchie went from last to first, and nobody likes seeing Dutchie winning, do we? Which is why I think a few people enjoyed Alsace yesterday. The first time we've done Alsace, actually, since season 2, I believe it was, or season 1. I think it was season 2 we last had Alsace. Bringing it back for the season, and it's definitely a mix of emotions for some of these drivers. I personally actually don't mind the track. I'm quite enjoying it, especially in the classic Group 1 cars. It's fair nice track. Fairly nice track, but I mean, obviously drivers are going to have their tracks that they like and then dislike for different reasons. Some might like the feel, some might say, oh, I don't like this track, but I'm quick at it, or it's one of those things. It's like Fuji's another one. We've got yellow flags up in front, someone's off, I think that's Cutlery Hands. Melix is into the pits, but we haven't really got many battles. It looks like Dan and T-Toppers is our closest fight for third place, and we'll ride on board and just keep an eye out on this battle as well. I'll also monitor the gap out in front for the lead, but Dan will be trying to get his second ever podium in the GT Sport League, and the second one this season. His first one came in Sardinia. It's round 2 this season. Sardinia being one of the new tracks, Sardinia A, but in the backwards configuration. T-Toppers comes into the pits. Does he have damage? Let's find out. No, just really one set of soft compound tyres. Could be why he was struggling a little bit. Dan, though, promoted up into third place, and yeah, you can see the gaps down here are ridiculous. A minute separating, well, Ted's got a minute between Melix and Tom the Bomb. It's almost like he's running in the Le Mans race. There's no one pretty much around him, so it's kind of the battle for the lead then, to be honest. We've got T-Toppers and Mac 2 seconds between, but not much is really happening in this race, unfortunately. We had such good action in Group A the other day, but you guys might have to wait a little bit longer for some more overtakes. Hopefully Suzuka provides some good action as well. I was a little bit hesitant last season about Suzuka. Obviously it's a difficult track to overtake, but personally I really enjoyed the race. I thought it was fun. Drivers running close to one another. I enjoyed Suzuka. I don't know if anyone in the chat from last season enjoyed it. Obviously, if you crashed, you might not have enjoyed it as much, but I thought, you know what, it was a good race last season. It's worth putting it in this season. But you're going to have those races that are average, and that's the best way of putting it. More like the only, well, not really the only way of putting it, but these kind of duller races. Something that Crofty said. It's races like this that make you appreciate the good ones. It's like when we had. I'm trying to think of the worst F1. To be honest, I can't really think of the worst F1 race this season. Someone can probably remind me, but it was pretty that bad that I don't remember what it was. I'm just trying to think. I can't remember off the top of my head. It was probably I can't probably remember what happened in the race. But it just races where there aren't many overtakes just makes you appreciate the ones where there are. And it seems to be one of them. Who knows? With Wolfie and Woody's different strategy, it's kind of the dull middle phase of the race. Wolfie's going to be able to put in less fuel when he comes to do his final stop. But yeah, in the meantime, let's talk about the calendar while these drivers are doing lap after lap, trying to close down the gaps to each other. Let's talk about the races ahead. So we have Suzuka in the old Group 2 cars, the final race in these cars. I mean, these cars have got a lot of front end grip and less so on the rear, so it's definitely going to be a case of being consistent, consistently. I know that sounds a bit weird, but they need to be setting, even if it's average lap times. If they're on the track, should be a good race. But yeah, after that we go into Group 4. We start off with Willow Springs, and yes, hang on, bear with me. If any drivers watching, I know you probably don't like Willow Springs, but the last league race I was in that had Willow Springs in Group 4, it was an awesome race. I really enjoyed it. It was fun. There were overtakes, plenty of mistakes as well. The Skull Dance into the pits and has picked up some damage, so we'll be in for a set of no tyres. Was that a mistake from Dan? I would have thought if you're going to pit to repair damage, might have been worth going onto a set of super soft tyres. Interesting from Dan. Might have wasted a pit stop there. Probably should have pitted to repair the damage and put a set of tyres on, because he's going to have to pit again. But yeah, that's Willow Springs. Avoiding the shadow realm as well, as Bonnie points out in the chat, as well as fuel saving. See, that's the thing with the league. I can't, as much as I don't like fuel saving, the only way to remove it is to get rid of fuel saving, but then that eliminates an element of strategy, which also, but that strategy is the one that limits, you know, it limits the overtaking if drivers are slipstreaming each other, saving fuel. So I can't put it on ×1, because ×1 definitely won't make it to the end, and even with ×1, people are still going to save just so they can put in smaller amounts in the pit stop. So it's kind of, you know, what do you have? Do you have fuel? Because I dropped it down to ×3 this season. I think gives you about 15 laps in this race, so you can pit for full fuel, and then in your second stint only put in a small amount. So drivers don't have to fuel save, but obviously the more fuel they save, the less they have to put in when they decide to come into the pits. So yeah, it's a tricky one. The only way to eliminate fuel saving is to get rid of it completely. But after that, we do have our first wet race of the season in the at the Red Bull Ring in Austria. That should be interesting. I'm definitely looking forward to that one. It's going to be absolute carnage. but it's definitely going to be a hell of a race. One that will definitely show skill, one that will show talent, one that will show consistency in those conditions. I'm not sure how many of these drivers have driven in the wet, but yeah, when it was added to the game in I think it was 2018 or 2019, they added wet weather, or some tracks allowed wet weather. There are only 3 tracks, unfortunately, that give you the wet weather option, but when they added it, it was interesting to say the least. Not what I expected, obviously going from GT cars in the wet, but it's definitely challenging, and to do it for 55 minutes to 60 minutes, it's definitely going to be tough for these guys. We have laps now for this season, 34 laps here at Alsace, whereas in previous seasons we've ran under a selected timer, 60 minutes and 50 for the last season. There's a good reason behind the 50-minute timer last season. Definitely something to do with the strategy. The fuel couldn't make it to 60 minutes, but it's, do you save or do you push? Pushing would result in an extra pit stop. A lot of people chose the saving option last season. But yeah, after Austria, I believe it's Spa. Should be a fun race. No, it's not Spa actually. That's a lie. I think it's Interlagos. After that, in Group 4, those are the next 4 tracks. The other wet race, by the way, is in Tokyo Expressway, in Group 3. But they're starting to... T-Top is now gaining on the Scout Dan. Has closed the gap to 3.5-4 tenths after Dan came into the pits to repair the damage. We've only got 10 laps to go in this race. Love is into the pits for tyres and fuel. I just love the sound of these cars, man. T-Top is into the pits from a set of super soft tyres. So Dan on the same strategy then might react, as he still needs to use the super softs, I believe. I do check the races afterwards just to make sure everyone has used the required tyres. But Dan is actually gaining on ND, only a second between the two. Somewhat round. Is that Wolfie or Woody? No, it's not. It's a back marker. I saw the arrow spinning on the map. We're going to be able to see who it is soon. You can see they have a car in the distance. I think that's Cutlery Hands or Tom the Bum. It is a blue car. It's not showing over the name, but it's one of the two. Unfortunate for him, might have to pit. It looked like potential damage. Just have to wait and see. About 16 minutes left of this race. Equates to 10 laps. As this battle is now for the podium positions. Is that PMP? Matt gaining on these guys. They're about 7. He's about 7 seconds behind after his damage earlier on. But we've got Dan running wide. Can he hold it? No, he can't. And he's round. Keeps it. I was going to say he keeps it out of the barrier, but then hits the barrier on the left-hand side. That's definitely going to be damage from Dan. You can see he's running slowly, and that's really unfortunate for him. Was just gaining on ND and is now in the wall and will be into the pits for a set of super soft tyres. Into the pits he goes then. That might allow T-Toppers to regain 4th place as he goes down the start-finish straight up into 4th place, but Woody and Wolfie are still 1-2 in this race respectively. PMP Max also into the pits. Sorry. As oh, sorry about that. There we go. Yeah, this track definitely, Bonnie's saying it's incidents galore. Definitely. This track's taking no hostages, no prisoners, only victims. But that is racing. To finish first, you first have to finish. And keeping it clean and consistent is definitely one of the keys to success in racing. Woody's into the pits. Will Wolfie follow him in? Does so with a lot more fuel. This is where things could get interesting, where we could see a fight for the lead. Where are the two going to come out? ND is coming around, not even the final corner, it's quite far behind the front two, so these guys have pulled away massively. Who's going to come out in front? They're both releasing at similar times, but I think it's going to be Wolfie out ahead, just ahead, and Wolfie gets the jump, putting in, I think, similar amounts of fuel. Let's just double check how much fuel they've got in. Almost the exact same, and we're now going to have a fight for the lead of the race with 7 laps to go. This is what you guys have been waiting for, and this is what the drivers are hopefully going to deliver. Wolfie's all over the back, Woody's all over the back of Woody after being jumped in the pits due to Wolfie putting in more fuel initially, and might use that strat later on in the season as well. Nice, lovely strategy from there. So like I was saying earlier, the dull middle bit of the stint where strategy is what's is the key part of the race. I'm not sure what the strategy is going to be like in the wet weather running, as only wets and inters will be available, and it's going to be interesting to see what tyres people use as well. Wets and inters are available, but it'll be the jobs down to the drivers to test which one is quicker. Lap 27 of 34. The battle now between two Irishmen for the lead. It's an Irish 1, 2, 3, but which one is going to finish first and which one's going to finish second? They have a 24-second gap to MD, who's currently 3rd place. Yellow flag, so we can ride on board with Woody to see who it is. It's someone parked in the middle of the track who almost gets out of the way, but Woody is so close. You know, Woody's had a few incidents in the past with lap traffic, costing him a little bit of time on the apex. Probably won't be too happy about that one, as blue flags was his fate for the championship last season. Let's hope history doesn't repeat itself like it often does in this season. But ND's into the pits, and it's going to be a showdown between the front two. Woody currently with the fastest lap, 1:41.6. So if it was to finish at it as it is, we'll be taking home 25 points in the championship fight. And let's bring up the championship standings after 3 rounds. As we're going to continue to watch this battle for the lead. It looks like Woody's dropping off a little bit. But as long as he stays within the slipstream, should be good enough. Losing a lot of speed there. You can see the gap really extending there through the banked corner. Looks like Wolfie's got a lot more commitment, a lot more grip, just finding the right line through that corner compared to Woody. The gap's now over a second, and the racing that I said would come, it's kind of just been lost now by Wolfie's extreme pace. But in the Group B Championship standings, it is Wolfie who leads the way on 84 points. 14 points behind is Woody in second, who's 10 points clear of Ted in 3rd place, who's not having the best of races here tonight in Alsace. You then have T-Toppers and ND down in 6th place as well. He's done a good job to be in 6th place, having not raced in the first race of the championship. But a little bit of some interesting stats We've had three different pole sitters. Sorry, three different pole sitters. One at Lago, one at Sardinia, one at Fuji. Those were taken by ND, Abyss and T-Toppers. One of them is not here tonight. I thought that was Dan getting ahead of ND, but Gav out front is still coming down. Wolfie now takes the fastest lap of the race, 1:40.8. He is definitely on it today. We have 5 laps here to go. I started with Lago, then Sardinia, but we're at Alsace here in France, and that is not going to be a sight that Ted wants to see, letting his teammate and Woody go through. It's been not the best race for Ted, and there's a little bit of contact between Kyler and Melix there. The battle for 7th place. We've got a battle on track. I guess something's better than nothing. It's a little bit wide for Kyler. It's just lag. Okay, that's the thing about this game. When drivers lag, they do lag, and they often get sent to the shadow realm. But they're fine on their screen. It's not the best when drivers lag. Ted is into the pits again. Does he have damage? He does. What's happened to this man in this championship? It was going so well for him in the first 2 races. Fuji had a collision in the feature race, ran out of fuel at the end, and has made so many pit stops in this race. It's hugely unfortunate for Ted. We know he's got pace. He does have pace. It may be consistency is what he needs to work on for the final Group 2 race. But he's definitely quick in Group 4, Ted. He's one to watch in the next 5 races after Suzuka. He's got the pace in those Group 4 cars, but maybe struggling a bit in the Group 2. Yeah, Bonnie making an excellent point in the chat. Really just can't seem to keep up with Wolfie's pace at the minute. Setting good competitive laps. But Wolfie's just able to go ever so slightly quicker lap after lap, with only 4 laps to go. We're on lap 30 out of 34, about to start lap 31. Might not be the showdown we're all hoping for between the 2 championship rivals here. Ted will be losing out in points massively compared to the guys around him. Hello Daniel in the chat asking if T-Thomas needs to pit again. As long as he's used the soft, super soft and medium, he is fine to stay out, but will be given a penalty for changing tyres during qualifying. He started the qualifying session on the mediums, then went to softs, set his fastest lap on the super softs, and we all know the rules. You have to start the race on the tyre you qualified on. You can change onto a fresh set of tyres. I made it clear to all the drivers at the start of the season, reminded them in the first 2 races as well, but unfortunately T-Thomas has seemed possibly forgotten about the rule. But as long as he's used super soft, soft and medium, he should be fine not to pit. Bonnie asking, multiple penalties for qualifying. It will probably be 1 penalty as a whole. I need to see what the best course of action is, because honestly I haven't actually thought about what the penalty would be. Probably a grid drop, maybe a time penalty. We'll have to wait and see. Started on the mediums, I think probably a grid drop would be the most effective way, because at this rate time penalties isn't going to sort anything. PMP max into the pits. Is that for damage? No, it's for a set of tyres and maybe an attempt for the fastest lap. So probably a 5-place grid penalty for changing tyres in the quali. But I'll have a word with the stewards as well after the race. So we've only got 2 laps to go. I need to turn my phone off because I'm being messaged 24/7 here and it won't stop going off. I don't know if you can hear it. If you can't hear it, then it's fine. We've got yellow flags. Who's that for? That might be a black car. Is that Ted? No, that's not Ted. Ted does have engine damage though. What is going on with Ted in this race? Ted is back into the pits. It's almost as if he's not driving us. This is really un-Ted-like. Someone might want to check if someone's hacked into his account or something, but yeah, what is going on? Ted not having the best of races. Tom the Bomb has damage. But yeah, Ted probably making as many pit stops as flying laps, to be honest. But yeah, T-Topper's tyres in quali will be investigated after the race. I'm not a steward, but I would give the penalty to be a grid penalty. I think disqualification is harsh, to be honest. Even though I think some people might say it's the best option. But you know, it's up to the stewards. I can obviously put my own input in, obviously being the admin and making these rules. PMP maps back into the pits, probably going to go for fastest lap. But if you don't use a tyre, if you don't use a compounder tyre in the race, it's a minute penalty added to your time. That's what the Nations Cup used. I brought that rule in for this season. So I'm thinking grid penalties for changing tyres in quali. As in the race, if you don't use a tyre, it's tough. I've already brought in that rule from the start, but we'll go with the stewards. I'm not going to go too much into detail on stream. But it's going to be likely that ND will finish on the podium at this rate. He's on the super soft tyres, has used the mediums and soft, and we're on to the final few laps, and well, penultimate lap actually. Shall we get an onboard lap with Wolfie? I didn't really do it in quali, but we'll just wait for the final lap, and we can get an onboard quali lap style thing. So if anyone is in a party with Wolfie, just let him know that we're going to go hammer on for. Yeah, I've just responded to what Dutch was saying in the chat. It's been a rule from the start of the season, and we'll continue to the final race of the season. But let's get rid of everything and go for an onboard lap here on the final lap of the race here in Alsace for round 4, going into turn 1, hooking up the apex nicely. It's not going to be the fastest lap you've ever seen, being on worn super soft tyres, but here we go, going up the little hill. This track known for lots of elevation change in the long run down towards turn 3 into turn 2, a flat out left corner, keeping it close to the apex on the right hand side. Late apex for turn 3 just to maximise your exit. Not getting close to the curb, could be due to worn tyres, lifting off a little bit for turn 4, almost flat, but not completely. Some cars might be flat, not in group 2 at least. Braking as you leave sector 1 into sector 2 for turn 5, nicely on the curb, tight to the inside on the right hand side, braking as the left hand side arrows start on the right hand side, hooking up the apex quite nicely. You can hear the tyres screaming away as we now go through the beautiful bank corner. Listen to those tyres. You can hear them screaming for grip, but a beautiful bank corner nevertheless. A really tricky left-hander followed by a right-hander, braking all the time. It's a really tricky corner to get right, one that you can easily miss your braking point at, as Thunder proved yesterday as he ploughed into the back of his teammate. Uphill left-hander. You can just see over the hill. You can't see turn 1. Now you can see turn 1 in the distance, going down to the final chicane. But it's Dutchy dominance for Wolfie here in Group B. And just like in Lago Maggiore, just like in Sardinia, he rounds the final corner in the lead of the race, and he wins here in Alsace Village, 3.2 seconds clear of Woody, who finishes in second. T-Thomas finishes, it looks set to finish third on the track. is 50 seconds behind Woody. Those bright two were on fire this race to clear the rest of the grid by 50 seconds. Brilliant race from Wolfie. Picks up the fastest lap as well. 31 points in the bag for him. He couldn't do any more. Woody in second will take 24 points home, and they all lapped up to 6th place. Half the grid were lapped as PMP Mac finishes in 6th place. But it's 3 out of 4 wins for Wolfie in this championship. Or I think it's 3 out of 4 wins in this championship. I hope I've got that stat right. Anyway, T-Toppers finishes on track in 3rd place, but post-race penalties could demote him further down the grid as ND finishes in 4th, but could be a podium as the Scout Dan rounds the final few corners to finish in 5th place. PMP Mac in 6th, Medic Sandils in 7th, Kyler Love in 8th. It's close across the line between him and I think that was Cutlery Hands. Kyler in 8th, and well, I don't know what to say about Ted's race. Has he run out of fuel? No, he's just got more damage. This has been definitely a race to forget for Ted. You can see on the right hand side almost pitting every other lap. Not going to be good for him in the constructors' points. Wolfie taking home as much points as he can. Hopefully Ted can bounce back in Suzuka as PMP Mac has disconnected from the race, and that is the end. There is your final grid. But PMP Mac was in 6th place, so I need to bear that in mind when putting the results or sending the results in for the website. But there you have it. Woody wins here in Alsace. Let's get the race results back up. Why can't I see the mouse? I can't click. There we go. There we go. So those were the results. In here would have been PMP Mac, but left just at the end. And yeah, brilliant race. A little bit not the best of the season, but still had some overtakes. And I hope you've enjoyed it. Wolfie, sorry, extending his championship lead. Good job for him in constructors. Next week we're at Suzuka for the final race in Group 2 before a break week going into Group 4. But that's all from me, and I'll see you next week in Suzuka. Goodbye.